What is up, everybody? So I just wanted to make this video because I was so impressed with this new Skydio 2 that I just bought that I had to upload something. So I was a Mavic Pro user for years. I thought that was the best drone out there, and then I bought this thing. And yeah, today was the first real world stress test. Completely blew my mind. So you'll see in the following sequences. But basically I had my dad right down the street with our dog, and yeah, low-hanging branches, totally autonomously. It did a great job. So without further ado. Okay, so here I'm putting the beacon in my dad's pocket. Now I've selected active track mode with the beacon, and it's only flying off the beacon. But I also have my phone linked to it so I can see exactly what it's seeing, right? So basically it's gonna follow my dad to the best of its abilities, but it's also kind of wandering because it's wondering which direction it's going to go in. I've selected for the drone to fly in front of the subject. So as soon as he starts to roll forward, this thing is intelligent enough to know that it should track, in a different direction, which is exactly what it's doing right now. So yeah, there you go. Now it realizes where it's going. It sees the building behind it. It adapts. And it's like, okay, cool, like in the front. So me in the car in the back, I'm watching all this. And for the moment, I'm like, okay, it's not exactly in front. It's like to the side. So this is me adjusting a few things right here. Basically, I just adjusted the angle at which it's supposed to follow the subject. So in the end, I just followed on the front. And so from here on out, I haven't touched a thing. Like I won't touch a thing. So this is all Skydio, all essentially artificial intelligence. And, the dog just having a good time. So, yeah, there's low-hanging branches, there's crazy obstacles, everything, but it always keeps, my dad pretty much in center focus, which I find just unbelievable. Like, coming from the DJI world, there is nothing equivalent to this. The active track that DJI had was like, weak at best. I mean, this is not just a next level. This is like a different galaxy, pretty much. So we continue to go. We get some low-hanging branches right here. So it actually lowers itself to adapt to those. And you'll see those in the distance. So it got under that just fine. Again, some low-hanging branches. Yeah, on we go. I'm just blown away. I don't understand how this technology exists. Like, this is a consumer product, and it does this so incredibly well. And if I wanted it to track from the back or the side or anything else, it would try to do that too, and avoid everything at the same time. Okay, so now we're getting towards the end of the street. I didn't want to go onto the next street because I knew there'd be cars and a bunch of other stuff. So you'll see here in a second that I sort of just told it to take a pause. But again, I can see exactly what it's seeing. So I have control over the drone, and it's following the beacon at the same time. So he makes a turn, it decides to go in the front, and I'm like, nope. Okay, stop there. Okay, so now he drives off. I have control over this thing at this point. So I figure out which direction to point it in, and then I have it select my car, right? Okay, now it sees my car, good. And then once again, I tell it to follow from the front. But because it's in active track mode, it's trying to figure out where the hell I'm going. So initially I go backwards, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go over here because I think you're going this direction, which is crazy because there's all sorts of shit in the way. But then you go forward, and there it is. There it is, right back to normal forward view. Now, this is without the beacon. So if you know Skydios, you know that the beacon gives it an additional sort of ability to lock in, to home in, especially at distance. So we go back through the same sort of trees, and I'm not sure if that's why it got hung up for a second, and then it obviously came back. It knew where it was supposed to be. But I slowed down for a second there, and then it came back. So again, this is just with my phone and the drone, and it switched seamlessly. Like, there was no follow the phone, any sort of thing. Now look at this part. It goes up over the trees in this portion where previously it went below it. So maybe that's an additional, beacon sort of thing. But once again, it finds me, no problem. Still tracking. And then from here on out, it's just pretty much gravy. So again, I'm not doing a dang thing. I told it to follow from the front, and it did that very well. You know? And it would be curious it'd be curious to tell it to do some additional angles at this rate, because again, this was like the first stress test we had with this thing, or that I had with this thing, and I didn't know how good it was. But now I'm inclined to do some additional testing where it's like, okay, let's see if you can orbit around the car at the same time where you're navigating all these trees. But you know, logistically, like, the video is going to be kind of strange at that point. It's more just, this is what I wanted. Yeah, and then we're back home. Done. Drone survived. Basically touched nothing. Totally insane.